Hey everybody, welcome back. I know it has been a while since we have done a video. We've actually taken almost a 2-year break from filming, and I actually did put up a video to explain why. I'll link that up above for you here. So if you've stuck with us that whole time and stayed a subscriber, thank you. If you're new here, my name is Jason, and along with my wife and kids, we love to travel in our RV, which you can see behind me, which is why I'm making this video. This is about our Thor Challenger 37 FH. We have had this rig for almost 2 years now. So basically we stopped recording, got this motorhome, and here we are back again. So today I'm going to give you a quick tour of our motorhome, tell you what we love about it, but then also tell you why after only 2 years, we're getting rid of this thing. So stick around. So yes, you heard right. We have owned this motorhome for 2 years. The reasons we got it was just the way that our family travels. You have to do what is right for you. And we had a truck and a fifth wheel. Previous to that, we had a travel trailer. And we've just constantly changed and grown with how we travel and what we like to do. So we have come to love traveling in a motorhome. It is perfect for us for how quick we move. Sometimes we stay places just for one night and then we're off again. The speed of travel, people being able to use a restroom or get a drink or a snack while going down the road has just been wonderful for us, and it's very comfortable to drive. But like I said, we are getting rid of it. So stick around to the end and you'll find out why. But right now we're going to give you a really quick tour. This is a motorhome by Thor. It is on the Ford chassis with the new V8 7.3 liter engine. Fantastic engine. It has done wonderful driving through like the mountains of West Virginia. We have driven this a lot of places. In the 2 years we've had it, we've put almost 14,000 miles on it. So we've put in our time. We know a thing or two about this. We're going to give you a quick tour right now though. So let's start with the outside. Like I said, we're going to make this really quick. Trying to do the whole one take thing. We'll see how it goes. So first up, you do have the large Alcoa rims with the 255 80R 22.5 tires on them. These things are great. You'll see we do have the tire monitoring system, and with these they have the metal stem, so you can actually use the pass-through sensors, which is really nice. You don't have to take them off to change your tire pressure at all. Back here we've got storage bays all down the side. It is a mess. We've not cleaned it out yet, but this is a pass-through storage. Very large. So we've got 1, 2, 3. This one is not storage. This is our freshwater tank. 100-gallon tank right there. And you can see on the side, it's kind of nice if my sensors are not very accurate. I can see exactly how much water I have, so that has been nice. But that is another one of the problems that we had. So moving down. Another storage, just like the other ones. This is the smallest storage, but still very good size, and it's all pass-through. Another storage. Come around the back. It has an 8,000 pound hitch, but you really don't want to tow any more than 5,000 pounds with this motorhome because of the carrying capacity, the gross vehicle weight rating. You don't want to exceed that 5,000 pound mark. So just because it has an 8,000 pound hitch doesn't mean you can tow that much. First bay back here, this is nothing but the sewer dump. So this is just where I keep the hoses. I've personally designated this for kind of a dirty bay, so I don't touch that unless I'm dumping the tanks. We have a black and a gray tank back here, and we have another black and gray tank up here. So this is a bath and a half model. So this gives us 100 gallons of fresh water, 80 gallons of gray, and 80 gallons of black. That is a lot. It does have propane, very large tank. More storage there as well. Here's your wet bay. Very nice, simple system where you can bypass the water heater, but we do have the Girard tankless water heater, so we really never have to bypass it. But there's your other dump port for the front tanks, and there's the water pump. Low point drains. So very nice, very contained. This does come with the Onan 5500 generator, and this thing's been wonderful as well. Driving down the road with the air conditioning. And then you've got 2 more bays of storage, and the front one is just for the batteries, and there's even a couple hydraulic hoses in there for the hydraulic leveling system. So it is a 4-point auto level system. Very nice design, very nice look. You can see we put our map on there. All right, so let's take a look inside. Now we are on the inside. I've switched to the iPhone so I can get a wider field of view for you, so sorry if the audio is not as good. But up front, we have the nice, very roomy cockpit. That is a desk that pulls out. Obviously you have automatic shades. The sides are not automatic, they're just pull shades, and there are no daytime shades in the front. So it's closed or open. There's nothing in between. So we did buy the Magna shade for the front. Cuts down on heat, gives you some more privacy during the day. Wonderful. Highly recommend Magna shade if you have a Class A. But it is a gas, like I said, on the Ford chassis. Very simple, not going to take much time, but there's your auto level controls. Got some storage up above. And then we turn around, and this is why we absolutely love this motorhome. This space here is fantastic. Having this extra countertop space for food prep, or what you see right there is just our catch-all in the moment. Those plants are usually hanging up, and we've got this all decorated, but it is kind of a mess right now. Just got back from a trip, and we're getting ready to take it in for service. So we do have a fireplace. There's some storage underneath here, and this is where your electronic components are going to be for the TV, DVD, the splitter, which goes through all the TVs. There's one here, one back there, and one outside. You can watch the same thing on all of them. Televator, it automatically, well, not automatically, you push the button, but it will rise up. You can watch TV. Initially, we thought this was wonderful because when we're not using it, it's out of the way of the window. And I do like that we have this big window there, but it's kind of a pain to always bring it up, put it back down, because we don't watch a lot of TV. So it's usually down, but when it does come up, it just takes a while. Personal preference. But nice theater seats. These are very comfortable. They do both recline. The dinette is wonderful. Having these back cushions to lean against. You can sit there. We can actually have 4 people sitting here. These swivel around, so you can have 2 people sitting there. This is just very comfortable, very roomy motorhome. Oh, and I forgot, we do have the bunk over the cab, so that does lower down as well. Storage up above. Storage, this is a convection microwave because there is no oven, but we do have gas since there's propane on this. There is 1 induction burner and 2 gas. Again, storage. Residential fridge. Love-hate relationship. This takes a lot of power, a lot of electricity. We do have a 2,000 watt inverter, so we can run it off the batteries, but they only give you 2 batteries. I think it's a little over 200 amp hours, and a 2,000 watt inverter will suck that very fast, and it shuts off for safety purposes when it gets your batteries to 50% or just above. So we can still have lights and everything else, but the fridge shuts off. We can't even go one night. So love it though, because it is huge, roomy. Can't really complain much. You do have the one-touch system here, whatever they call it for Thor, where you can do all of your temperatures, your vent fans, your slides. Everything's operated from here. It is a nice system. It's been really good, and actually this does even come with a 100 watt solar panel on the roof, so there's already a solar charge converter, and it actually will even let you add another panel to get you 200 volts altogether, so, or 200 watts. We haven't done any of that, we just kept the standard. It is a 1.5 bath model, so here's your half bath. Very large, actually, a lot of room in here. We do have the sliding doors, which, believe it or not, those are actually really tight and very private for a sliding door. Oh, and I should mention, when the slides are in, the whole way down, we can leave this rug right here. So it's that entire width the whole way back. So here it is with all the slides in, and you can see, very roomy walkway. So we love it. Even driving down the road, we can come all the way back to right here. Even get into the pantry, which is really nice, big. And then back into the bedroom. That is where, when the slides are in, everything stops. You can't go any further than this because this is a full wall slide and this is on a slide. You can see it's a tilt-a-bed. So even when it's up, this bed is touching these drawers. So it's completely closed off in here. Having said that, not a big fan of the tilt-a-bed. When we are boondocking, or you have to run the slide out if you want to use your bed normally. But the tilt-a-bed does give you that extra roominess. I mean, this is huge. Underneath the bed, since there's no underbed storage, we use this ottoman, which has been wonderful. But there are 2 drawers down here, and that's also where your fuse panel is and your circuits, or your breakers. Tons of storage. The hanging space in here, double wide, comes with the table you can put up in between the 2 captain's chairs. That is your ladder for getting up into the bunk area. And then this is wonderful. This did not come with the unit. I think you can option it in, but ours didn't have it. We had this from the Reflection. I took it out. I drilled a new hole. I did all that scary stuff to make this compatible with the combo washer dryer. And these drawers were actually down here and we had storage above. So I just relocated the drawers up to here so we could still use this, because that is a lot of storage space in those drawers, and still have 2 shelves above. So you can kind of see this motorhome's a storage machine, because you even have above the bed. Let me show you, these are really deep. So those go back pretty far. These are the biggest drawers. These are enormous. And then we have the TV back here, which, yes, there is storage behind that, which we utilize usually for electronics or whatnot. And the master bath, which is actually the whole family bath because it's the only shower. But good size. Again, lots of storage. The shower, and it does come with the shower miser. I don't know why ours is this color. It seems to not work right. It's always that gray. It should be blue, and it turns this color when the water gets hot. Ours is permanently that color. So, and that's because we have the tankless water heater. It's nice when you're boondocking, or even electric only is when we use it mostly. You don't have to waste your gray tank space. That recirculates the water back into your freshwater tank until you're ready to use it. You can shut off the flow there, and then it comes out. And then that way you never have to shut the water off with your endless water heater, because those of you that have it know that will kill your hot water, and then you have to wait for it to recycle again. So you can flip that on and off even during your shower. Wonderful water saver. Highly recommend one of those if you have the option. So that's it. Absolutely gorgeous motorhome. This is why we fell in love with it. This is why we jumped at it. Honestly, it was not easy for me to get rid of my truck and the Reflection. I absolutely loved that diesel truck, but the cost of those 2 together actually ended up being the same as this. And we didn't need that big diesel truck on a day-to-day basis. Since we're not full-timers, we don't do this all the time. When we do travel, it was lovely. There is nothing better to tow with than a diesel truck. I'm just gonna say that. But when I wasn't towing, I have like a 3-mile commute to work. The truck was just getting warmed up by the time I got to work. It just felt like I was not using that truck to its full potentials for 80% of the year. We traded in the truck and trailer, bought this. I just bought a used car with cash, just something older, to get me to work and back. So now we just travel in this thing. We have a Jeep that we tow behind it, which we might do a video on later, what we bought to tow behind this. It's actually Jeep Grand Cherokee L. So you can tow those, but there are only certain models and certain specs that you have to watch out for. So we'll do a video on that later, let you know how that works. So you might be wondering why, if you love that motorhome so much and you've only had it for 2 years, would you be getting rid of it? Well, that's a long story. Over the 2 years that we've had this, we have had it in service countless times. I have a stack of papers of all the things that have gone wrong with it. And it basically just, we have no faith in it anymore. We're like afraid of what's going to happen next. Where are we going to go from here? What's going to break next? And this, it's just not a fun way to live. Every time we keep thinking, oh, we've got it all done. We love how this thing is riding, how it's handling, which the Ford chassis has actually been pretty good. But we love how it sounds, it feels, and then something goes wrong. So we just never know what's going to come next. We bought this in September of 2022. So most during that time being built were basically considered COVID models. Now I know that's not a good term to use, but basically during that time, during the pandemic, things just got shut down and then they got opened back up. And I feel like a lot of these just did not have the same quality control. They were slapped together. Who knows whatever caused it? I mean, every company has their problems and people complain about it, but the long history of it, yes, they have their problems, but nothing like what we went through. Our service manager even said the same thing, and he basically started calling this a turd. So it has just been a thorn in our side, and we're happy to pull that thorn. So just to list a few of the things that have gone wrong, the things that weren't really Thor's fault: the rear air conditioner completely quit, stopped blowing cold, and we were in Florida during a heat wave with a 40-foot motorhome and one air conditioner. That wasn't fun, but fortunately we were at the beach. We would go out and cool off that way. So that wasn't really Thor's fault. It was under warranty, got replaced. The furnace, when we were traveling in colder weather, would never stay on. It would light and then turn off, light and then turn off. So we had that back and forth. They couldn't figure out what was, it was one of those, no one knew what was happening with it. So if you can't diagnose a problem, you can't replace it, you can't fix it, nobody's going to work with you. So that was an ongoing thing for a very long time. And the water heater has really, it's a Girard tankless water heater. You're supposed to be able to set the temperature and forget about it. Well, ours, you can set the temperature and it will still come out 125 degrees or hotter. We've actually had to go over 140 degrees and get an error message and it shuts down. And the problem with the tankless water heater, if you add cold water to mix it yourself to come up with your comfortable temperature, the water flow gets so low that those cut off and stop generating hot water. So we would either have a scalding hot water shower or a ice cold shower. And it's just no fun. And we're still dealing with it to this day. We've also had the main living room slide. Something was wrong with the mechanism. They had to replace it entirely, not the motor, but the actual slide underneath the floor, the supports. We had tons of minor things, from a little bit of movement in a wall panel, just staples coming out, wallpaper peeling off. We've had leaks where there shouldn't be, like in the wheel well, water sprayed up into the storage compartment. Our very first trip out, we had a hydraulic line break free and spray hydraulic fluid all underneath the motorhome on the campsite. And we had to have a mobile tech come out because the hydraulic is what powers the stabilizers. We weren't sure if we were even going to be able to get it back up or what was going on. But he came out and looked at that. And while he was here, I mentioned, and this is the first trip, mind you, I mentioned, this door doesn't even seem to be closing right. It wouldn't latch all the way. Sometimes it would, sometimes it wouldn't. We had to pull it pretty hard just to get it sealed. He looked at it and he said, that's not normal. You might want to actually take it to Thor and have them look at that because something's not right with the wall. We never had a chance to actually take it to Thor, but General RV looked at it. They adjusted the door. They made it work right, so it at least latched. So ultimately, that service tech was right. There was something wrong with that wall. On one of our trips just this year in January of 2024, we were setting up camp, putting the slides out, and I heard a loud pop. And I looked down. There was a gap about that big between the wall and the floor. The actual wall had pulled apart from the floor, and I could see daylight. I could see through the floor of my RV, through the steps. That is just not a fun feeling to have. So of course, we were kind of in panic mode. We didn't know what to do. Fortunately, we found out when we were able to move the slides, it didn't go any further, it just stayed right there. So we went ahead, we put the slide all the way out. When we put it out, the pressure from the slide and the gears would pull that back shut. So when we were parked and had the slides out, it was sealed again. But as soon as we brought that slide back in, it pulled back out. And it stayed out even when the slides were all the way in and we were driving down the road. So we drove down the road with a big gap along the wall, the base of our floor. But then during that drive, we heard a loud popping and cracking noise coming from the front driver's side. And we thought, oh my gosh, this has got to be related. Well, nothing ever separated over there that we could see. So then a little while later, we actually noticed light coming in the front corner as well. That had actually pulled apart. So we had the frame, the walls and the floor pulled apart on two different sides of the motorhome. Submitted it to Thor because they do have a 10-year structural warranty. So I thought, well, this is good news at least. They're going to cover it. And they did. So with all these problems, I do want to say that Thor covered everything. There was only one repair we even had to pay for when it was out of warranty, which happened on the same trip as the wall came apart. The steps also got stuck out. We couldn't figure out why. Everything seemed to be, it was just like it was clicking and not staying on. So we actually took the pin out and manually put them back in, put a strap around them just to hold them in place just to get home from this trip. So we had a really junky looking motorhome on that trip. We had the strap around the step. We had tape holding one of the side panels on the front. When the wall pulled apart, that panel came loose and it was just flapping in the wind. So it was a fun trip, and it got us thinking, what is going on? And this is after all the other stuff we'd already dealt with. So we got back, fixed it all. Thor covered it all. They were able to bolt the wall back together. They did say this is not a common problem. This is very rare. So this is nothing, it's not every Thor owner has to be worried about this. This was a fluke. We literally just got what I feel was a lemon that we've had, and I haven't even listed all the stuff that we've dealt with. Tons of little things, lots of big things. On the Ford chassis side, nothing major there. We had a little error, something to do with a connection point with the engine, and they just swapped it out. Ford did a great job with that, swapping it out, covered under warranty. We also had a bump stop just disappear. It went missing. That's a known issue with these F53 chassis. Ford covered that, gave us a new one, installed it. So we really haven't spent any money out of our pocket repairing these things, except for the step. We did order a replacement motor and mechanism thinking that was the problem, because I never finished that story. We ordered a motor and mechanism for the step thinking that was the problem. Turns out it simply just wasn't grounded properly. The ground was attached to the step mechanism itself instead of to the chassis of the camper. So if you know anything about electrical, you need that ground for it to work, and it was just causing an inconsistent power, so it just wasn't coming in and out until it finally just quit. But we found that after we had ordered the replacement engine, and so now I have a replacement motor and brains of the unit, essentially. So we've had a lot of things go wrong, and we finally thought we had it all figured out. After all this stuff happened with the frame, we actually noticed the ride was quieter. It actually got quieter in the cab. We don't know how, we don't know what happened, but there were even less squeaks down the end. That makes sense. There were fewer squeaks and moans and groans it's almost like it shifted itself back into position. They sealed it up and we were okay. So we thought, okay, maybe we'll put this behind us. But then this last camping trip we did, we were getting ready to go, had a wonderful weekend. I was inside the motorhome doing my cleanup stuff. Elizabeth was outside. We were actually hitching up the Jeep is what we were doing. So she was outside testing the lights and everything. Well, I went to go outside to clean up a couple last things. The handle popped off in my hand. I couldn't believe that just happened. It just felt like the last straw, and it's not a major fix. I actually called Thor and they said, oh my gosh, that's a safety issue. We're going to send you one right now, just on good faith. So they sent it to us. We haven't received it yet. I don't know if you noticed that we have some foil covering a big hole in the door. So here's what we're working with, a temporary patch. Reach under there so you can reach the handle. But that was just a not fun experience. I was trapped inside the motorhome. There is no other way out of this motorhome except for windows or emergency exits. I was stuck inside. I had to open the window, yell out to Elizabeth, hey, I'm stuck, come open the door. She could barely get it out. It was jammed shut because that had broken off. Some pieces fell down, so she could barely get it open from the outside. Well, like I said, this was on our way home. We were only an hour and a half away from home. So we were able to make it all the way home, pulled into our driveway, and we had to figure out how to get out of the motorhome because we couldn't do it from inside. We had yet to unhitch and do everything, so I was able to actually reach out and with an umbrella pop it open while she messed with the inside. So we got out, and then once we got everything out and unpacked, I took it off, and now we just have a little metal switch so we can get in and out, but we have something covering that hole. So Big hole in the camper door, no way to lock it, and it just felt like, even though this was not a major problem, this is just one too many, and we're done. What else is going to happen to this thing? So we decided to go look at something better, higher quality. So next time you see us, we'll let you know what we got. I will tell you, we love the motorhome life. It is another motorized RV because I don't know if I can travel any other way now that I've done this. I'm spoiled, I'm gonna say it. So we are blessed that we're able, in a position that we can go look to see how we can get out of this. General RV's been helping us, so we're gonna do our best, but we'll see if all goes well. We're gonna trade this in, get a new unit, and then we will let you know what it is. So thanks for listening. Thanks for sitting around. Hope this doesn't scare you from ever buying a Thor. They're not a bad company. They worked with us. They fixed it. I just think we had horrible timing with when we bought this, what was going on in the world, and the quality of this build. They've actually even since don't even make the Challenger anymore. They've replaced it with the Illuminate, I think, which seems like a really nice one. My parents actually own a Thor Class A motorhome, haven't had near the problems we have. They're surprised when I tell them, oh, something else went wrong. And so it's just luck of the draw. We got a bad one. It happens. I'm a little upset. I'm gonna be out a little bit of money, but we're gonna get out of this so we can relax and continue traveling the way we do. So on that note, we have tons of plans. We have essentially a reboot of this channel. We are gonna start doing some content again for you when I get the time between work. So be patient with us. We don't have like a weekly release schedule. We're going to do that every 2 to 3 weeks, when we go on trips, when we have something to share with you. But we're back, at least for now. So we will make some content, share it with you as we go. We'll let you know what we get. We'll let you know where we go. So subscribe so that you don't miss any of that stuff. And give this video a thumbs up for us so that YouTube knows that we're back. Share it with everybody. With that being said, I appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.